Episode 291, Between Two Wheels podcast. This is Tyler Yonke. We're talking stage 3 of the Tour de France. Where are we at here? We're at Amorebieta-Etxano to Bayonne, 193 kilometers. We've got a sprint stage. We've got a KOM issue. We've got relegation. We've got drama at the finish. Hang on, coming up.
Massive number of people have been upgrading. Yes, there you go. You see the graceful limb that you were talking about before. The race we've got yet again, and a victor then goes victory to an American, Andy Hampton.
The felt it go by. He looks at the Colombian rider. How are you doing?
Straight past Santiago Botero, and he's coming up to Pantani.
Armstrong is sitting in the last few hundred meters as we come towards the finish of this monumental stage. And Armstrong,
as we start to approach the line now, Pantani grits his teeth and accelerates and over the line.
Is going now to win stage number 15. Sepp Kuss, an emotional finish from Durango in the USA. Sepp Kuss wins.
We're back. Episode 291, stage 3. We just said 193 kilometers, a little bit of drama, and Brian wants to know, what's the intro music? It's literally like copyright-free music you can get off the YouTube or something like that. I don't know. It's called Retribution. That's what it is. It's just metal. It's a metal group of some sort. I'll find out, Brian, and I'll let you know. I'm just trying to mix it up here because I do love Tool, but what I'm trying to also do is not have everything copyright strike on YouTube. So you use some music like this, you throw in a few clips that are not going to have a problem, you janky them up, and what happens? Stage 2, yesterday's episode, does get restricted. They said it took it down. It's still up. YouTube said they took it down, but I'm showing it's still there. So I don't know. I need to look into this, get a notification. So it's what it is. But we're here for today, and let's add this to the stream here. Here was a stage for today. And what did I say yesterday? I picked Philipsen, and I also said, look, this is what I kind of got lucky, I think. I said, Nilsson Palace, what he needs to do is he just has to race about 60 kilometers. That's all he has to do. To climb at the start, it's easy for him to then get away. It's a much easier way for the break to form. He can do so and get all the KOM points for today. And that's exactly what happened. He got up there with Penchant, the French guy. They had a great time. They were fist bumping. They were patting each other on their ass. They looked like they had a good time. And Nilsson Palace strikes out, takes the Cat 3, the 4, the 3, the 3. I think he makes about $800 or 800 euros on the day for that. The sprint spot actually that the French guy got was, I think, 1,500. So he made out much better. And then he also got the combativity award, but it was good. Nelson's, once again, another day in the mountains jersey. That's probably goes with some money as well. So did I ruin the whole stage for us? Not quite. Let's take a look here and see exactly what we have going on for today. I'll pull up this some of these the highlights here, and we'll walk through them as we've done. MVDP, Matthew van der Poel. Yes, that's a clear sign of things to come because he will play a part in this. And by the way, I watched yesterday after my show. I then went and had watched Chris Horner's show, which I think does some of the best. Why am I all? Let's try to focus this in here. Okay. Chris Horner shows some of the best analysis of breakdowns, and he does a little bit different things. And I appreciate that. You get everyone's input across the board. The Belgians were upset, much like Chris Horner, actually, but he can emphasize and outline it a little better than they can. They were upset that Vinigo did not help out Wout in the sprint. Now, I said a few things, which is Kelderman should have jumped on the wheel of Lefay going by. If he's not able to jump on the wheel, by the way, then you're definitely not going to pull him back. So that's a thing you do right away. You try to jump on his wheel. If you're not able to jump on his wheel, you're not going to be able to pull him back in the first place. So that's done and dusted. It's what you should have done. Now, Chris Horner says, Vinigo, by the fact that he should have actually gone down the mountain there with Pogacar, because there's a chance when you get down there the last few kilometers, you get to the bottom. If the two of you are away, you just say, I'm not working because I've got Wout behind to sprint, and you do all the work. You might actually win. Plus, you're putting on some seconds there. Okay. That's valid. And if you don't do that, then you might as well pull for him at the finish. Now, I saw some other people saying today, no. The Vinigo does not do that because that puts his racing in jeopardy. You don't do that at all. I don't think that that's the case. You can definitely do a quick pull there. You're not going to, look how much work Pogacar has been doing over this. Look, you sprinted for a shot to get a bonus second at the top of the climb. Why wouldn't you just pull for him? So I get it. There's everyone's opinions are out there and open. I think the most obvious though is that Kelderman should have tried to jump on Lefay's wheel, but I do give him a pass because that's not his position typically. Anyway, there you go. The Belgians are upset, and are they going to be upset today at the finish? It's going to be a sprint spot. There's Lefay in green. There's the map of France. There is your route that you're taking. And look, like I said, kilometers 1 through 100 or so is where the climbing is. And basically from kilometer 0, you had... Now, I'm not a fan of Nilsen Paulus wearing red shorts. I don't think that's a great look on him. I know it's with the pink jersey, but I thought yesterday wearing your team shorts with the polka dots was better. The pink and the red don't mix. It's just, it's not a good thing, but you're doing your thing here. I do appreciate that. Sets out, he's got, let's see if this says the guy's name here with him. Pinchon from Arkea Sansic, and he is, he's a French guy. So they had a good time out there today. Look at this. Nilsen Paulus goes across many of these today. Every time he was posting up, he was signaling to the crowd. He had a great time. I thought it was fine. Now, you go back to the good old days where everyone hated everyone, where Lance Armstrong chased people down, sues them out of out of oblivion. Maybe you like the good old days where everyone hated each other a little more. I actually thought this was pretty good because there's zero chance when you get just the two of them that they're going to make it to the finish. So Nilsen does the wise thing, which is he sits up, but we'll get there in a second. Lefay breaks out and says, I want to have a chance at this green jersey. So he takes off. He gets about a minute. He's like in between the gap of the break and the peloton. And so he goes across the sprint for third place, wraps that up all by himself. Back behind, though, who did we have here for?
Lefay would soon be back.
Who ended up winning that? Was it Mads Pedersen? I think it was Mads Pedersen got the fourth place. So, points go down there. You got Binion, Philipsen, Cavendish. A few of these other guys are all kind of in the mix there for it. And you could kind of tell that's how it's going to play out. Now, Lefay gets caught back. 100 kilometers after they go over the finish or the KOM, Nilsen bids adieu to Pinchon. They give each other a fist bump, little pat on the ass, a lot going on there. I don't know if they're making out after the race, but that's what it is. Pinchon then he does end up taking it on for himself. They cross from Spain into France with the Frenchman in the lead. Perfectly fine. Great weather today. He gets caught at 37 and a half or so kilometers to go. And you've got this whole group here ready to go to the finish. By the way, I'm going to just lay it out there. No wrecks that I saw, at least, in the sprint finish final. Very much glad to see that. Nilsen is making fans. He's likable, says Brian. I totally agree. And by the way, you never know when you're going to get this chance again. Enjoy it. He's off the front. There was no problem with him doing these guys had a good time today. It was the perfect scenario to do these kind of things. It's not always going to be the case. You do this kind of cheering and fist bumping or chest posting up over the top of a climb with some guys that you're going toe to toe with. It's not going to work out well. They're going to think you're dicks. but these two seem to be just fine. So Nelson speaks French. I'm sure that was part of it. Maybe they knew each other regardless. That's where you have 2.5K to go. This shit got crazy because you had sprint team after sprint team lining the road, trying to do their duty. And Lotto Soudal is the one leading things in here. You've got Arkea Samsic, no, not Arkea Samsic, Alpecin Phoenix. You've got the Norwegian team down there. Bahrain is down there. Interwanchi Marche for Bayonne, they're down there. You've got Case Bowl trying to lead out for Cavendish down there. Then you've got Wout, who had Christophe Laporte at one point, but then he kind of just was going solo and surfing wheels. You also had Lotto Destiny, I think that's the team, and they were for Caleb Ewing. They're down there. You have Jaco down there for Groenewegen. I mean, it blows the mind of how many different teams are there, and you don't really have these full sprint teams anymore. You just have like select parts of them. Going in here, 1.5, you've got the Soudal team on the front. They're doing what they can. Now, the Binion over here on the Interwanchi Marche team, their guy leading out Binion, he comes up here on our left, and he really makes a hard effort, but he can't quite get up to the wheel. For some reason, there's a gap there. Now, it's going to be a problem. If you can't hold, and this pace coming into the last few kilometers was just insane for all the riders, which really puts it to the sprinters. The Soudal rider has a bit of a gap here, but when that happens, you then end up getting the Alpecin threesome coming up here into the last few corners, 900 meters to go. You've got, I'm trying to remember the rider's name, but right on his wheel is Matthew van der Poel and then Jesper Philipsen. Now, Jakobsen should be there. His teammates up the front. I don't even know where he's at. This thing got scattered all over the place. 500 meters to go. You start to get Groenewegen coming up there. Wout's on Jesper Philipsen's wheel. Over on the other side is Bauhaus for Bahrain. You've got, I don't know where Jakobsen even was. I didn't really see him in the mix when I was able to do the overhead shot. But right here at 275, you see Wout take a jump. Now, I don't know how much we're going to break this down as far as the last sprint. There's been a lot of it today. A lot of people have been breaking this down. I'll just say this. This was a blind man putting up the barriers for the road, the finish today. And if the UCI had at all decided that there was a relegation to be had, it would have been an embarrassment because it was their barriers that really caused the problem. There's a sprint idea, which is you carry your line or you carry your lane. There's a little bit of a difference here, but you don't deviate off of that. And the point of that is you don't want hard accelerations or movements right to left. The person that had the most movement today, if you look back in the field, it was Caleb Ewing almost taking out Groenewegen. And as soon as you let up and you have to brake or you have to pause, your day's done. Okay. So we're seeing this here. Philipsen starts off. The road turns to the right. So he's heading straight ahead and you don't really see him deviate, him being Philipsen. Now he crosses over the road. You can see him moving, but that's the way the road is going. And then as soon as this, anyway, Philipsen gets the win, Bauhaus second, Caleb Ewing third, and we'll get to the rest of them. I think Cavendish was like fifth or so, Wout in there as well. So are they going to show this? Maybe the Philipsen sat on the hot seat for a while. They said maybe, maybe not. We're not sure, but here you go. Here's Philipsen. He's going, and it's hard because, and then it looks like he's pushing Wout over to the side. Wout then sits up. And then Philipsen continues on. And then right before the finish, you don't really see it here, Philipsen almost crashes into the barriers, but the barriers were snaking inside and outside. I had no problems with what he did. It looked to me like to be a clean sprint. I did not hear at all Wout, his take on it. If he thought he was pushed into the barrier, you didn't see him raise a hand, kind of like protesting. So for that, I think we'll give it to him. Now, I watched yesterday, I brought up the, maybe we'll go to that right away here. So anyway, Philipsen ends up getting the win. Good for him. Big post up. Bauhaus, Caleb Ewing, Jakobsen. Also, Fabio Jakobsen did get fourth. Okay. Wout van Aert, Cavendish, Muis, Groenewegen, Pedersen, and Brian Coquard. So, I mean, look, Philipsen had the best team, the best lead out when you needed it, which was Matthew van der Poel doing an incredible pole, setting him off just letting him go at the perfect time. Everyone else petered out. They either went too soon, they blew up their wad, they got mixed up in their some within, but Matthew van der Poel did exactly what he needed to do, and he let Philipsen sprint when he needed to sprint. No change in the overall. Adam Yates there. KOM jersey for the green jersey for Lefay. He looks always very interested. That picture, he looks very interested. KOM for Nilsson Palace. And then tomorrow I think is an even easier day of the sprint, but a little bit of jagged stuff coming here right near the end. So you may see a little bit more of a, I don't know if an attack or something along the lines there. Now, yesterday I talked about in the show that, what's his name here? Let's do this one. And I was arguing because Chris Flower and Kurt Mills, my two buddies in here, it's actually Kurt. Kurt doesn't agree with anything I say. So if I want him to agree with something I actually believe in, I just say the opposite and he instantly comes out against it. But I was mentioning that Lantern Rouge yesterday, and I played the clip where he's like, hey, he threw a bottle, he being Wout Van Aert, and then mocked, Pogacar is mocking him at the finish. And I played the clip of Wout coming across the finish. I'm like, there's no bottle throw. His hand's obviously open. There's nothing there. So I mentioned that to Kurt. He did happen to come up with this, which check this out. This is, I don't know, some Twitter guy's thing here. This is after the finish. So Wout does throw his bottle and it does land right. Hey, look at the Pogacar. Tadej's going, what? And then Tadej's talking about it later. Watch. There you go. So, and I did happen to see the Lantern Rouge guy today, and he did mention how there was a difference there. So I appreciate that, at least him backtracking a little bit here. But that's one aspect. Okay, Brian mentioned it here. Mike Tunisian was leading Gourmet and flapping his arms like crazy to say he was out of gas. Yes, I noticed that. And I noticed, and look, that's part of the thing is just like, you hope your guy understands, you don't have it, come around me, jump on this wheel, I'm opening the gap, help. Michael Tunisian there. But he's a good lead out, and Gourmet got up there. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I think a lot of this heat coming down in the last 5K of just utter speed and then trying to fill in moves and that's part of it too, is like, if your guy could give you the smoothest ride where you're not touching your brakes, you're not having to close gaps, you then, when the sprint happens, like it did, when you're able to come off of Matthew Van Der Poel's wheel, then that's good. Chris says Lantern Rouge catches all. He didn't though. That's the, hang on, let's fix this. That's part of the, Chris, if you want, just let me know. You come join me for one of these nights. I'm just letting you know. Okay, let's take a look at the results. I hope you guys have a good 4th, by the way. I don't know about you. I had to work today. Jasper Philipsen, Bauhaus. We talked about the first 10 here. Gourmet, Sam Welsford for DSM. He's an Aussie. Christoph, he back there in 14th. Mike Tunisian, there he is in 17th. Adam Kirsch, Peter Sagan. Who? Peter Sagan. Okay. Let's take a look. I wanted to I did have a few, and these very well may get me banned from YouTube altogether. But whoops. There we go. Maybe there we go. These are, I don't know what the point of this, but this is the celebrations that you saw of Nilsson Palace. Pump on the air. I mean, there was a lot big crowds out there today, and a little touch on the back. Once again, I'm not a fan of the pink and the red combo, but that's what it is. Chris says, I haven't seen the show, but I'll take your word for it. Okay, thank you. Kurt Mills, the Lantern Rouge was right about the bottle. No, if you watch yesterday's show, you'll actually see not. And matter of fact, I didn't tell you this today, Chris. Or Kurt, I watched the Lantern Rouge show today, and he made a correction about that. I'll have to go back and pinpoint it. If I cared, I possibly would go back and do that. But maybe I don't care enough. Let's watch the actual. Then this may get me struck down against on YouTube, but I think it's probably worth it to watch the last bit of the sprint here. Come into the 1K. Now just look. The road's taken to the right. Now right there. So. This is the problem you have, and I don't know. And by the way, Lantern Rouge, I'm going to keep picking on him today. So in his after show, he's like, "Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's perfectly fine." And then he put out a video, and he made it sound like the Philipsen should have been relegated. So I don't know where to go. And the initial reaction, I think, is right. Maybe he broke it down more, and then he's like, it shouldn't be. But look right there. You just see this. They're not following the lanes of the road, right? They look at that. They're crossing over, and that's what happens because this very well could get this channel struck down for copyright. And then he peels off. Now, what you can do as a sprinter in a lead out, it's nice. You're peeling off to give your guy the best shot to do so. But if you really want to be a prick, you peel off to a way that only Philipsen could get around you. Okay, only him could get around you, and it boxes everyone in here. Let's get some more Lantern Rouge controversy here. The title was clickbait. Should still no, but Brian, he maybe I'll have to play that part because he actually said in there that he should have been DQ'd. But then you watch his video from earlier, and it wasn't. How dare he? Appreciate the coverage you're providing of the Lantern Rouge show. Sure, why not? Look, punch up. This is what you do. You've got to punch up. All right. By the way, he's Australian. This is what I said to my Yahoo friends here. I said, I don't understand his accent or his rationale. By the way, I just didn't understand either one of those. Okay. So here's the sprint. Now look, obviously the road's angling now to the right. Wout still hasn't got even with him. Right there, he's close to being even, but this is where Wout just kind of, he's already sitting up. So Wout's got room at that point. If he was trying to kick through and he cared, I just don't think Wout actually cared as much. So at this point, he's already done. And then look, right near the end, this is where the Lantern Rouge, I'm going back into him. He said Philipsen was deviating so much, he almost took himself out. Well, the road was going there. I think that's kind of a bullshit claim. Plus, he's Australian and a former attorney. Kurt, I don't know where you're going with this. This is an attorney. Who are you going to side with, me or the other attorney? Right? All right. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else really let's take a quick look at the news here. See if there's anything in there. Philipsen wins stage 3. Impressive lead out from Van der Poel. Hard to say whether Philipsen's Tour de France sprint was fair. That's what Wout is saying. Oh, there we go. We're going to have to take a look at this one. We'll read this one. Kurt says the other attorney. I don't think he's practicing anymore. So he's making YouTube money, which means he may be doing a much better than all of us. Who knows? Bumps with Philipsen. Spectators see Wout Van Aert miss out in Tour de France, but leave stage with a smile. Okay. I didn't see that he threw a bottle. Look at tomorrow's finish. Right. I think it's in and Brian, you're jumping ahead here. I think tomorrow's finish is on a circuit, like a raceway. So it should be interesting. And what did I say about today's? I said, if it's straight away, it's very straight. You're looking at more of a Groenewegen type. If it's got any kind of different issues, you're looking more of Caleb Ewing. Now, Philipsen. And by the way, this had a bit of a rise to it. Cavendish comes out and says, look, I don't do so well when it hits down. As soon as it started to pitch up a little bit, I started to actually feel the being able to put the power down. It was much better than trying to spin out. Could be. I mean, him at 6th place today is solid. Is he going to get his 35th win? I don't know. But I don't have a problem if he does. I was well placed, especially Christophe Laporte did a really good job. This is Wout saying this job for me to bring me in position. Van Aert said in the tricky finale, which included a hairpin 2 kilometer out and a curving road to the finish, which tilted uphill. I tried to pass Jasper on the right side, he added, having jumped from the wheel of the Alpecin rider train along with Laporte in the final kilometer. But yeah, then I lost my momentum a bit because we touched each other. Ooh. And I also touched the spectators. Oh, hey. So in the final meters, I couldn't do my sprint. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like he's really complaining too much there. Van Aert said that it was, quote, hard to say, unquote, whether Philipsen's sprint was fair. Okay, come on. While Jumbo-Visma Director Sportif Arthur Van Dongen told Cycling News Weekly and Cycling Weekly that the problem was more the curving road to the finish. I think it's also not up to me to judge. Man, doing good for speaking English for not a first language person, but come on, Benner said. But before Donegan had his say, Wout started his sprint in third position, exactly what we planned. He added the case that the UCI rule says the last 200 meters should be straight line, and that's not the case. It's a yeah. Now, I will say this: you look at the UCI rule book, and it actually says that it should be a straight. The last 200 meters should be a straight line. It's not a shall; it's a should. It's not permissive. It's permissive, not mandatory. So okay. Brian says finish on a racetrack, 1 kilometer flyer with Quinn Simmons in the USA jersey on the 4th of July. Sounds nice. I just don't think it's going to happen. Can't understand your accent, says Chris, do you remember the time when you phonetically spelled out all the cyclists' names? Walsheed, all those, you had it as Wall Street. That was still one of my favorite episodes ever. So there we go. Okay, let's take a look real quick at tomorrow. Now, look, maybe I should invest in like VeloView or something where I can take a much better, more detailed, here, let's go to Pro Cycling News. Pro Cycling Stats, where I can take a much better detailed look at the stages and the coming into the finish. But I mean, this is all we really have here. So this doesn't give me a breakdown of what it looks like. Yeah. Okay. Profiles. Let's go to the profiles. There we go, to the finish. Evidently, Dax to Côte d'Amour to Nogaro. How many miles? We got this 181 kilometers. Should be an easy sprint finish. I mean, there's a sprint early. There's the Côte d'Amour. It's a Cat 4. If it's all together, you're going to see probably Nilsson try to get that. What's going to be interesting, let's look in the next few days though, because you got his HC in the middle here. I mean, this will be interesting. If Nilsson is really serious about this KOM jersey, which he can climb well. It's not one of these. It's not, no offense to Magnus Cort Nilsson last year. It's a Nilsson combo, but this Nilsson can actually climb. So this is what I anticipate. Once again, so 2 days from now, his race is 87 kilometers, okay? He's got to do what he can do to either get in the break or to be near the front for this HC category and try to get over the top first and get a massive money point. That's HC at 87 kilometers. He doesn't have to get to the finish. That's on stage, 5? Stage 6, I believe it's very similar. You've got a 1 and a Cat 3 early, but then a 1 and a 5 at 98 kilometers. We're literally talking about him climbing or racing 60 miles for the next two days after the sprint day. He can take a rest on. And then stage 7, we're not going to worry about that. So those are some possibilities he can do. Who's going to win tomorrow? I can't tell who is in here, but we can at least see from today's racing who had the best sprint going on. Chris says, old Dylan Groenewegen for the win tomorrow. Greenwagon, yeah. Okay, Greenwagon for the win. I can see that. I watched his race today, and we should bring that back up, but he's in position. He's on Philipsen's wheel, and he starts to gap just a little bit. And on his left, okay, behind him is Caleb Ewing. Caleb comes to the right because the road's shorter that way. And then Caleb comes past him on the right and then flies to his left, almost takes out Groenewegen, and then gets up there for third. So Caleb was flying, and I'm going to pick Caleb with that kind of attitude where he's like, do or die, I'll chop you, no problem, and see what happens. If this road, if it's on a raceway and it's so wide open, I think Groenewegen type, maybe a Fabio Jakobsen, where it's just pure power as long as you can go, is going to be more the winner. Because if it is like that and they start to go too soon, you're not going to necessarily have barriers problems. You're going to be able to just fight it out. So I think Groenewegen or Jakobsen are the ones. But you know what? Philipsen, for what it's worth, getting the right lead out, getting the right guys in there, he looks detrimental. Okay. It's not the song I wanted. So we'll start over here. So I think tomorrow, folks, maybe we'll try to do it earlier in the day. And then I'm going to continue once again, 7 o'clock p.m. Try to get these shows out 7 o'clock every time. Quick 20, 30 minutes. Chris Kurt, send me a message if you want to be on. Other than that, everybody, Groenewegen, Caleb Ewing, Jakobsen, I'm going to just name them all. I don't know. I really think Groenewegen is the one to go. But my top 3 are Groenewegen, Caleb Ewing, and Jakobsen for the win. Everybody. Kurt says no. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that Claire said something to him. I know you're talking to me. All right, guys, take care.